and just do it. I mean, the results were almost immediate. That's what blew me away, and they kept coming. They just kept coming. That first week, I think I dropped 10 pounds just getting all the crap out of my body, basically. And then it just kept coming. It kept dropping. It started off 3 pounds a week, just like clockwork.
Welcome to the Dr. Ashley Show.
Welcome to the Dr. Ashley Show. I'm Dr. Ashley, and today I'm excited to have PhD client Bryan Jetter on the show. Bryan is a 47-year-old busy business owner, CPA, husband, and father of two. He dropped over 70 pounds in just 22 weeks, reversed many chronic diseases, and is going to share with us just how he did it despite his 100-hour work weeks and travel baseball. Welcome to the show, Bryan. I'm honored to have you here with me today.
It's good to be here.
Will you share with us a little bit about why you were motivated to start your journey in dropping weight? And I'd love for you to share with us how you set your weight loss goals.
Well, it started off in a doctor's office, actually. It was, I go for my annual physical, get my blood work done. I used to joke that I was just checking to make sure my cholesterol was still high, my blood pressure was still up. But they started showing me trends of the, I guess, lack of progress I was making, the direction I was headed. I started having little nagging things like gout. No fun, don't recommend it. And the doctor really showed me, he says, look, here's where you are, here's where you're headed. And then also, we don't like what we're seeing with your liver numbers. So they scheduled me for an ultrasound there. That turned into a referral to a GI doc who did a follow-up ultrasound. I met with them and they said, they all kept saying the same thing. You need to lose weight. You need to lose weight. All this stuff will go away if you lose weight. So I tried to do it on my own. I've tried to do it on my own several times. Had some success, not really. I would gain it back. The usual cycle that you see with people in weight loss. I told my wife, I said, if nothing changes by my next visit, I'm going to do something different. I'd heard your program being advertised on the radio and I'll give it a shot. Why not? And so I went for my follow-up visit. I managed to gain 2 pounds on my own. So that's when I signed up. I called as I was leaving the doctor's office and signed up. Yeah, I didn't know how much I needed to lose, how much I wanted to lose. I said, get me something normal on the BMI chart. Let's shoot for that. Did not realize that was going to be 70 pounds.
What do you think about that?
At first, I was like, well, most weight loss programs I had tried in the past, we didn't really have a goal set, which to me was a problem. It's just kind of lose weight, and when do you know when to start, when do you know when to stop, that sort of thing. So when I first talked to my coach, it was, hey, let's set this goal. It was funny at first. They said, well, how much did you weigh when you graduated high school? I said, well, I weighed 140 pounds. Let's not do that. So we kind of settled on this target of about 185. And I said, wow, that's a lot. I was at 250. That's kind of where we started with the progress.
If I understand correctly, you're now right around that 180, 185. However, you feel like you should go a little bit lower. So see how the mindset shifts there. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. It was, when I got to 185, I said, I'm going to go to 180. Just I need a buffer because, I've done so many weight loss programs. I said, what if I bounce back? What if this doesn't stick? That sort of thing. So I said, well, I'll get down to 180 and kind of see where things are there and reevaluate.
Are you surprised that you dropped 70 pounds?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was amazing. It was easier than I thought it was going to be in a lot of respects. It went quicker than I thought it would go. Like I said, this is not my first weight loss attempt.
Yeah.
So I came in with very low expectations. I said, we'll see what happens. Maybe this is my lot in life and this is what it's going to be. But it's been a remarkably easy, remarkably good journey.
What type of weight loss programs have you done before?
Well, I just tried to do some things on my own. I like to tinker with things, that kind of thing. So I tried to make my own. I've worked with my wife's health insurance company, suggested one to us that I tried that had some success with, but I think I dropped about 30 pounds, but managed to gain it all back within the matter of 3 to 6 months afterwards, I had tried, maybe half-heartedly, I had tried to do Atkins and things like that,
Hmm.
without a coach, without somebody that's done this and been through this process, it fell apart. I try to do exercise, I try to get out and walk or something like that. Nothing really stuck. Nothing seemed like it was sustainable. Nothing seemed like it was going to last. And then I always had to bounce back, and then I would gain more weight, that kind of thing. So I
Hmm.
said, well, maybe I need to stop doing this because I gained more weight.
That's funny. It's creating the opposite effect that you're really
That's
looking
right.
for.
That's right.
So then what made you choose PhD? There are so many weight loss programs out there, especially right now with the medication craze. Why this for you?
Well, I looked into the medication briefly. I've got a number of clients with what I do, so I talk to a lot of people throughout the year.
Hmm.
And I've had clients do gastric bypass surgery. I've had them do some of the weight loss drugs, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
I try not to take drugs if I can help it. And then just the side effects of things. With any of the weight loss drugs, they're great while you're on them. And the second you're off of them, you go right back. So I
Hmm.
didn't want another drug that I had to take just to keep the weight off. And then some of the side effects I didn't feel like I wanted to try out for me.
Hmm.
So I wanted something that was going to work, something that was going to be sustainable, something that was going to last, and something that was going to stick. And so, I heard the advertisements, heard some good things about it, read some of the reviews, did some of the research online of it, and everything looked good. I said, this sounds doable. I know there was one you had mentioned, one of your weight loss clients that was actually in a wheelchair
Yeah.
and was able to lose the weight. I said, well, gosh, if somebody in a wheelchair can do this, I can do this.
Hmm.
This is not going to be hitting the gym for 3 hours a day and
Yeah.
starving myself all the time. So,
Yeah. Did you find that your cholesterol levels improved?
oh yeah, and that
Yeah.
surprised me a lot. I actually went for my annual checkup right at the end of my weight loss. With the diet being high protein, high fat, I was expecting bad cholesterol numbers, and they were actually better than they've been since my 20s. This is the lowest my cholesterol has been in probably 25 years. That part amazed me more than anything else.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
What'd your doctor think when you came in and dropped 70 pounds?
It was funny. The nurse that weighed me when I first came in, she actually had to override the computer system. The computer system thought she was putting in the wrong weight.
So funny.
So she actually had to override it. And they asked me, they said, did we have it correct before? I said, oh, yeah, you had it correct before. And I explained to them the weight loss program and everything. The doctors have been interested in it, especially the gastroenterologist.
Yeah.
She's been interested in it. She was funny when I went for a follow up visit. I was halfway through the program. I'd probably lost about 35 pounds. And so
Mhm.
she said, when people lose weight this quickly, it bounces back and it's tough to keep off and all that kind of stuff. I
So
said,
she
Doc,
was real positive.
no, no, no. I appreciated it. I really did. I said, Doc, I appreciate your skepticism. I have to employ skepticism in my job too. I said, frankly, I'm kind of dumbfounded by this also. I'm kind of surprised how well it's worked. And I said, so she actually scheduled a follow up visit for me coming up in the next few weeks, couple
Uh,
months into my weight loss or maintenance phase. And
right.
she said, I just want to see if you can keep it off.
Oh, it's a
No,
test.
and I really do appreciate the skepticism.
Uh-huh.
And I told her that. I said, she told me the whole time, she said, I don't want to discourage you. It's great what you've done.
Yeah.
But, this study showed that a lot of people can't keep it
Hmm.
off when they lose weight rapidly like that.
Mm.
But, it's a lifestyle change. That's what I like about it. It's so sustainable now. It's so
Yeah.
easy to maintain now.
Yeah. There's actually quite a bit of research showing that when we drop weight faster in a true, safe, effective way, we actually do keep it off better and we get to our goal weight because we're motivated, because we're seeing change week in, week out. Like for you, I think your average was about 3 pounds per week,
That's right.
and that keeps you motivated. It keeps
It
you
does.
towing the line because you're seeing the change. If it was 0.5 pounds a week or 1 pound per week, could you imagine? It'd be 70 weeks if you could keep that commitment.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, painful. I know you're a really busy guy. You're a CPA.
Mhm.
As of this recording time, we just finished tax season, April
We
15th.
did.
So, will you share with us just how your busy schedule before you started PhD affected your weight and what your main challenges were?
Well, my schedule is not just a CPA. I own the business too. So I'm a small
Oh,
business owner. And, I work with a lot of business owners and I tell them you're never really off the clock. There's always something that needs to be done. My tax season is typically 100 hours a week or so in the office.
wow.
When it's not tax season, I'm still 50, 55 hours a week doing things. It's busy. Two boys, both of them are involved in baseball. So we spent the summers traveling around to every little podunk town in the southeast playing baseball tournaments. And so I was gone every weekend. And so just dealing with the stress, I genuinely care about my clients and their situation. So usually they come to me and it's not always good. There's bad things going on. Their business may be going out of business. They may be going through a divorce or a tough time. And it's stressful. It's stressful for me as well. So when you get stressed, the usual crutches come out. You tend to eat too much, probably had too many beers, probably had a little too much scotch. It happens. So that's before the program. That's how I kind of managed. Obviously it helps. It's a crutch, but it's also not sustainable. It's not good for your health. I could tell, I knew it was detrimental to my health. I figured out, well, I'll have a heart attack at some point and that'll be the end of it.
Mm. Bryan, do you feel like during that time you ate enough to accumulate those 70 pounds, or do you feel like you didn't really eat that much to equate to that?
While I was doing it, no, I didn't think I was eating too much. I didn't pay any attention to what I ate. And I would just go eat whatever I was in the mood for, I would eat. If I wanted a beer, I'd have a beer. If I wanted to go eat all you can eat buffet or eat a pizza or whatever, I'd just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Never put any thought into it, really.
Never ate breakfast.
No, I still don't.
I know, which is fine as long as you got everything else in order.
My stomach doesn't work before about noon. That was one of the biggest fights I had with the coach.
I saw that.
I said, I feel sick. I can't eat this early in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm usually a pot of black coffee kind of guy. So that's the main thing before I got into the program. I paid no attention to what I was eating at all. At all. Didn't care. Just ate whatever I wanted to eat, especially being on the road. We'd eat out a lot and, restaurants tend to pile enough on your plate. And we always ate what we could and ate what we were put on our plate. And, and I had two brothers, so we eat quickly because whoever got to it first got the food.
That's right.
Hey guys, just a quick reminder about GlucoCut Plus, my specially formulated supplement to support your metabolism throughout your fat loss journey. With patented ingredients, it aids in consistent weight loss and boosts energy by supporting your thyroid, burning fat, and maintaining lean muscle mass. Weight loss can stress your body, but I created GlucoCut Plus to have your back. Visit dr.ashleywellness.com and use code Ashley10 for 10% off your first purchase or 20% off your first subscription order with free shipping. Plus, enjoy a 30-day money-back guarantee. Back to the show.
So now, having done PhD in your maintenance phase in tax season,
Yep.
What's the difference?
The difference is I think about what I'm eating. I'm mindful about it. I still eat most of what I used to eat. There's things now, it's changed my taste for food too. Yeah, for example, I can't eat fried food anymore. It just makes me sick just to eat it.
No way.
Yeah, we were at a restaurant as I was coming into maintenance. My wife and son were there, and I just grabbed a couple of French fries. I hadn't had French fries in 5 months at that point. And it just made me feel bad. It made me feel sick, and I don't like the way it makes me feel now. I avoid fried foods now. It just, until you get it out of your system, you don't realize how bad it makes you feel, and how bloated and how just how it drags you down. I am more mindful during tax season. What we do is we typically will meet with clients up till about 6 o'clock and go grab dinner. And, the key thing going to a restaurant is just knowing ahead of time what you're going to get, what you're not going to get. And in doing that, so I'm mindful about the carb content of what I'm eating and the ways restaurants tend to add sugar to things, and I've gotten very customizing my order. Nothing for me to tell them to leave this off or more of that or whatever. And so that's been the biggest change. And during tax season, I kept myself within 2 pounds of 180 the entire season. which is usually my most stressful time. That's usually when more beer gets consumed and everything else. So, not to say I didn't have a beer or two, but
Sure.
it wasn't 5 or 6, it was one.
Did you have better energy or focus or
Oh, yeah.
mental clarity this time around?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I slept much, much better. I've got a bed that tracks my sleep habits, and I can demonstrably tell you I was sleeping a good half hour to an hour longer and more
Wow.
restful once I got all that junk out of my system.
Hmm.
That was almost no immediate impact. I went back and looked at that, and that was one of the first impacts I noticed when I got on the program was much better sleep. And I don't know if I had undiagnosed sleep apnea or anything like that, but I was sleeping much better. I'm one of those annoying people that gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning ready to go anyway.
Yeah,
So
that is annoying.
my wife hates it. Uh,
I wish I was wired that way,
no,
man.
I'm unconscious by about 10 o'clock most nights, but
Well, that's good. That's healthy.
that's just how I am. And I woke up more rested, more refreshed. The mental clarity was much better during this tax season. Other than those last 2 weeks, that's always kind of you're going on 3 or 4 hours of sleep and trying to get things done. So,
Wow.
but otherwise, yeah, it was much better go around this year than previous years.
During the program, did you have hunger, cravings? I think a lot of people think, oh my gosh, this is going to be so painful. Tell us a little bit about your experience and why you think PhD is different and sustainable, whereas your other attempts just didn't allow for the outcome you were looking.
Honestly, the first week getting adjusted to the program, I had a little bit of hunger. A little bit. Not terrible. It was manageable. It was very manageable. Something you said in one of your podcasts was hunger's not an emergency. That kind of stuck with me. So I've talked to my clients about the program. What I always tell people is that first week, whenever you get hungry, drink water. Just drink water, and because you need to stay hydrated, and getting hydrated is part of the program as well. So after that, really, there was no hunger. I still remember standing in front of my pantry about maybe 3 weeks into the program, looking at all the food in there, all the stuff I would have grabbed, just mindlessly standing there grazing at the pantry, and didn't want any of it. We have occasionally clients will bring stuff to the office. There's a box of donuts sitting in there, which normally
Okay.
I'd have grabbed two. Didn't even want them. Had no craving for them. It took me a second. I just looked at the box and said, I don't want that. And then I stopped myself and I said, well, wait a second. This is new. This is a
Yeah, I
change.
love that.
I
Hmm.
don't want this stuff. I'm not going to sit here and graze in front of the pantry or just turn on a baseball game and just bag of chips and start eating. That part was really amazingly easy. Once I got past that first week or so, and I know everybody's different in that some people take 2 or 3 weeks to get to that point, but
Yeah.
for me, it was literally, I remember it was 5 days. I woke up one day and felt 10 times better.
Mm.
And the cravings were pretty much gone. Looking back on it, the hunger was gone at that point. And I said, okay, this is something I can live with. This is something I can do. That was when it really kind of hit home for me at the outset. Where other weight loss programs, I never really had a point like that. We were just
Yeah.
losing, and I said, oh my gosh, am I going to have to just do this and eat these tiny portions of food the rest of my life, or do this,
Hmm.
you know, go exercise an hour a day for some intense thing and all that? Things kind of revolves around taxis. I can do everything for about 100 days. That's about all I can give you. After that, I'm bored with it. This program is entirely different. It's so sustainable. There's not that fatigue. I didn't have it anyway. I know some people may. I don't want to, if people are out there watching that are going through the program right now and they hit a rough spot, that's okay. Fortunately, I never really had a rough spot per se. I just, the weight just kept coming off, which kept motivating me to stay on the program, focus in on the day-to-day tasks, taking it one day at a time. What do I need to do today? When I knew I had my weekly call with my coach, I knew that was coming up, and it would almost motivate me the day or two before to kind of, okay, now I really got to watch what I'm doing.
Yes.
The whole program, it was just wildly different than anything else I'd been on. Just the combination of the coaching, the food, the whole approach to it. It's
Did
great.
you learn anything that surprised you in the education piece
Oh
where
yeah.
you thought, no way? Like
Oh
what?
yeah.
What
Yeah. Oh
surprised you?
gosh. All kinds of stuff. One of the first things when you're talking about, 4 grams of carbs equals 1 teaspoon of sugar.
Yeah.
I started looking at carb counts on things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the same as eating like 10 teaspoons of sugar. And nobody would do that willingly. Nobody just stand there and eat teaspoons full of sugar. That's what you're doing when you're eating like a piece of bread, for example, or a hot dog bun or something like that. That's one of the first things that really kind of stuck with me. Gosh, there's a number of things. Just the podcast you did on just I got into really the science of it and how your body metabolizes things, and especially talk about alcohol and how your body metabolizes the alcohol and what it does to your weight loss when you drink and all that, which surprised most people, including my wife. She said, I didn't think you would cut out drinking completely. I cut it out for 5 months completely.
Wow.
I told people I felt like an alcoholic. I was going around going, I hadn't drank in 5 months. It's funny. I have people, my clients know this. I have a full bar in my office. We keep beer on tap. It makes it more palatable to tell people they owe the government a lot of money if they can have a drink with it too. So,
I can see it.
So didn't touch it. Didn't want it. Didn't have any cravings for it. I'd look at it and just, it's there. It's no different than the chairs that are in my office or anything else. It's just there, and it was there for my clients to have. And, I'd heard a lot of people say, drinking's bad for weight loss. And why? Why? It's nothing. There's not that many calories in it, that sort of thing. Why is it bad? So your whole podcast on that was very, very informative, very educational. It makes me think now too. Even now, I went out last night. I had my older son's last college baseball game ever last night. So we went out and had late dinner, had a few beers to celebrate. And, so I know that's kind of I'll dial it back in today and tomorrow. And, that's what's been so great about this is during maintenance is so sustainable. I know I can do things like that and still be okay.
That's right. I love the awareness that you have now on what your body's telling you. And I think it's so amazing how when you feed the body the way that it's supposed to be fed, it gives you those signals.
That's right.
Right? Isn't it? And the weight just melts off, gets you back to the body composition that you're meant to have. So the body really wants to work for you.
That's right. And I can feel it. If I overdo the carbs or the sugar, I can feel it. I can feel it almost immediately, and I can tell how long it takes to kind of get out of my system now. Through the program, I've kind of gotten this feel for what that feels like. And if you do go a little overboard, what it takes to get back on track.
Did you have support at home?
I did. My wife was great. My wife was absolutely phenomenal. She didn't go through the program with me, but she was there to encourage me along the way. Even my boys, I've got one in high school, one in college. The one in college would come home and he would talk about how much weight I'd lost, how visible. To me, I saw me every day. So other than taking the pictures to document it, I didn't really notice it until my clothes really started getting really loose. But my wife would encourage me along the way. I'm the one that cooks in the household. I would cook my food and their food, and really wasn't that much different. I would just modify mine a little bit. And we had the usual rotation of food that we normally have, but I'd lay off of the macaroni and cheese or I'd let them have it. And I would make some collard greens instead or something like that as a good substitute. And, that part, they were great in that, my sons would give me a hard time about it, like I would expect them to. They're teenagers; they know everything.
That's their job.
That's their job. That's their job to make fun of their dad.
That's right.
So
I'm sure they were proud of you, and
they are. Yeah, they are. We were talking about that last night. I ordered a second beer, and my son says, "Whoa, what are you doing?" But I told him, I said, "I'm only going to have one. I got to drive back tonight, and I don't want to overdo it and all." And we sat there for a little while talking, and so I ordered another beer. And even to this day, my business partner, I'll start to drink a beer or something. He's like, 250's coming right back.
Oh, no. No, it's not.
Oh, we treat each other like brothers. We make fun of each other all the time. We're good business partners to be with.
So then, Bryan, what are your next goals? I always say that I don't like the mindset of maintenance. I think it can lead to destruction if we don't have more goals, the next thing that we're going to reach to. So have you created those next goals for you?
I'm considering that right now. My life kind of revolves around my tax season, so everything gets put on hold from January to April 15th.
Mm-hmm.
The weight loss phase ended right at the start of tax season. Immediate goal was just maintain through tax season.
Yes.
We still have the maintenance. That's still there. I told my clients, I said, when you see me next year, I should be the same size. Buying new clothes at the correct size now, for example. I'm not wearing baggy clothes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what's next, I need to get back on some sort of just exercise routine of something. Just start walking again, start doing something, start moving a little bit. We've got the big change now. I've got my oldest one graduated college or is graduating here in a few weeks. My youngest one is going off to college now. So we're going to be empty nesters. So that's going to be a big change for us as far as schedules, and we'll now have more free time. We're not going to be at a baseball field every week or every night like this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be my wife and I, and it's going to be different for meals. What do we do there? We haven't been without kids for 22 years now. So we don't know what we're going to do without kids running around the house or causing something for us to do or that kind of thing.
So now you can invest in yourself.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
like that idea of movement. I'm a big fan of
Yes.
resistance training because
Mm-hmm.
over the age of 40, our biggest goal should be maintaining our muscle mass. So
That's right.
I'm excited for you to find something that's going to help you to build that muscle back up. And
Well, I'm fortunate. I don't have a lot of muscle mass to start with.
well, now you get to start from a really good
That's right.
baseline.
That's right.
You're a father, you're busy. I hear from a lot of people, maybe some excuses or procrastinations around, gosh, I can't get started because I'm too busy, or because I have a family who doesn't necessarily eat the way that I do. What would you say to that?
I had all of that. I had a family that did not go along on the plan with me. Not that they needed to, but they didn't go along on the plan other than to support me along the way. But they certainly would sometimes eat what I would eat for myself, but sometimes not. As far as being too busy, 100 hours a week during tax season. I literally, I wake up, I come to the office, and I work, and I go home. I drive home and go right to bed. It's 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Friday, then as much as I can get done on the weekends, 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Oh, yeah. There's 168 hours in the week. I slept 68 and worked 100.
Wow.
So too busy. I mean, one thing I like about PhD is if you are too busy, a lot of times that's an excuse for I don't want to do it. You really have to want to do this. You can't just half-heartedly do it. You can't put in half the effort and get any kind of result. But, I'll give you an example. Last October, my son and I went down to Florida for 4 or 5 days for a big baseball tournament. So I talked to the coach ahead of time and I said, look, I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to a place I've never been before. What do I need to do? What's my game plan? And one of the things I liked about PhD was the meals that you guys provide they're quick and they're easy and they're pretty good. I mean, it's not, you're not eating just protein shakes that's the same thing over and over again. And my coach was really good with me as far as coming up with a plan. We actually had our weekly call as I was driving to Florida. So
yeah, because you did all this over the phone.
I did. That was the best part. The food was shipped right to my office. I still to this day haven't set foot in the office.
I might have you do that sometime just to say hi.
I might do that. It's not too far away, but there's not a good way to get there from my office. So I don't want to drive over there every week. So for somebody that can't make it into the office, you can carve out. I just put it on my calendar. I carved out a time at the end of the day where we had a phone call. The phone calls lasted maybe 5-10 minutes most times, unless there were some bunch of questions I had. I grilled them the first couple of weeks, and planning for the travel. That was important. So we covered a little bit there. But otherwise the phone calls didn't take up a lot of time. The food that you guys provided, I mean, honestly, it was ready to go. I usually have something here in the office to eat for lunch anyway. I don't go out for lunch very much. So it was just kind of switching up from this microwave thing to this thing. And
Mhm.
all in all, very easy to take on the go. I actually did 2 trips while I was on the plan, and just took the food products with me. And then it was just a matter of going out to restaurants, which I do around town anyway. It's just going to a restaurant, finding something that you can eat, that you want to eat, um, and going with that, and knowing that, you know, nothing was going to be an emergency. Even if I had a day where I went a little overboard, I could get right back on track.
Mhm. When you would dine out, do you look at the menu before you go to the restaurant, or do you choose once you arrive?
If it's a new restaurant, I try to look ahead of time.
Mhm.
So I did that a lot when I was on my trips. I would check out the menus of the places. We're all creatures of habit. I tend to go to the same restaurants over and over. I tend to get the same thing over and over. I am not very adventurous on that end.
What's your favorite thing to get?
Oh gosh. You know, I joked with a lot of my clients. I was like, because they asked me if this thing was really hard. I was like, yeah, I eat a lot of steak. I ate
It's
a
so
lot of
hard.
steak. It was awful. But steak's one of my go-tos. I can do
Mhm.
that. Yeah, it just really depends on the restaurant, what I'm
Mhm.
in the mood for. Even I do like to go to Mexican restaurants. It's a little bit harder to find things there. But I was able to manage. I was able to tell them, leave off the cheese or leave off no rice and bean.
Fajitas.
Yeah,
Good. And now that you're in maintenance, cheese
yeah,
is back there.
yeah.
Sour
We can do that
cream,
again.
guacamole.
Yeah. Oh, me and guacamole don't get along at all.
Oh no. Okay.
That's
So that's not coming back.
that was never going to come back. I could lose a lot of weight if you had me eat guacamole. I'd never eat.
So, what would you say to someone who's just on the fence about getting started? Not even necessarily about getting started with PhD, but just in general. What would be your advice for someone who's just like, oh, I just don't know if I want to do this, or I'm not going to be able to? What would you tell someone?
Well, I got that question a lot when I would tell people about my weight loss, and I'd say,
Mhm.
look, number one, you have to want to do it. That's with anything. But this program in particular makes it so easy, and it's so logical, it's so laid out. You're there with people every step of the way, and just do it. I mean, the results were almost immediate. That's what blew me away, and they kept coming. They just kept coming. That first week, I think I dropped 10 pounds just getting all the crap out of my body, basically. And then it just kept coming. It kept dropping. It started off 3 pounds a week, just like clockwork. I mean, some weeks it might have been 2.5, some weeks it might have been 3.5, but it was 3 pounds just like clockwork. And I can see, one of the things you always said during the weight loss phase was don't weigh yourself every day. And I did that. I weighed myself every day. Uh,
Hey,
I'm a numbers guy.
you are.
I
It's
want
true.
I want to know. I could see even incrementally, you see days where you go up or down or you go flatline for a couple of days and your body chemistry is so complex that I didn't get discouraged by that at all. I can understand how some people may. I could look back within the app and within the logs that I was keeping. I could look back at the calendar and see my phone calls are on Wednesdays. So every Wednesday I would look and it would be like clockwork. And I can see the progress I've made. Somebody that would be on the fence about that, I would say, look, it's almost immediate. I started feeling better. Like I mentioned before, the sleep change happened almost instantaneously. The cravings went away within a week or so. And it just was so easy, so sustainable.
Thanks, Brian. Anything else that you'd like to share?
No, just thank you guys. I mean, this has been life changing. It was amazing. Been amazing. If anybody's watching and is still on the fence, please sign up. I'm
Mhm.
living proof. I don't know if you have my before picture that you're going to put on this.
I'd like to, but I
Oh,
think I
I
need
was
an.
huge. I was huge. This is one of my old shirts. This is even the little things like being able to walk upstairs without getting out of breath, or being able to lean over and tie my shoes without getting out of breath, or my knees not hurting anymore. That kind of is just the energy, the mental clarity, that just the number of people that just couldn't believe how much weight I lost, how different I look. So I've actually got an identical twin brother. So
Oh, no
yeah,
way.
Yeah. So there's another guy that looks this good. That's what I always tell people. Um, so, we could kind of see that there and all that. So, I encourage him to try to look at it as well. So,
Uh-huh. Well, he knows
but
what he'd look like.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
You're
exactly.
like,
So,
here's your after.
that's right. That's right.
That's
Um,
funny. Well, thank you, Bryan. I always say that the
thank you.
best plan on earth only works if you work it. So, a huge
That's
shout
great.
out to you. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to walk beside you as you create this positive change in your life.
Thank you
So,
again.
thank you, Bryan. I hope you had some good takeaways from today's show with Bryan. He definitely put in the work, the commitment, the discipline, and he is reaping those benefits. Remember, you got to step up to make the change. Lead with your heart, train your mind, and do not negotiate with your body. I'll see you next time.